3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Puts it up. He got it!
Ladies and gentlemen, Yao Ming.
Hey, Coach, it's pretty common for NBA teams to kind of divide up work between the assistant coaches and stuff. How has that been for you guys in Houston so far? Who's taking what?
It's been good. So when I was in Dallas, I was offensive coordinator. Jamal Mosley was defensive coordinator. Here, we don't have coordinators. I have Jeff Hornacek and Will Weaver kind of tilted towards the offensive side. John Lucas, Rick Higgins, Sagana Diop are tilted to the defensive side. But I think it's good for coaches' growth to be able to do a little bit of everything. So Sagana was running a 2-on-2 pick-and-roll drill today. Luke was down on the other end doing switching, pick and rolls. So everybody gets to touch a little bit of everything. But if there's certain questions that I have or certain focuses that I'm thinking about, those guys tilt either way. But they're basketball coaches, and they're going to be allowed to do so.
Mike Brennan.
Stephen, is there an update today on James, and have you had an opportunity to speak to him yet?
There is really no update as far as James is concerned. He is still in the protocol and doing his testing. So, that's pretty much the update as it is. As far as I know, we're not supposed to kind of be in the same area because we're in separate areas of the testing tiers and all that stuff that I don't really know much about. But he is doing his due diligence when it comes to the testing.
Have you communicated with him at all?
I said hello to him.
Jonathan Bing.
Yeah, hi, Coach.
Hey.
How would you describe the way your offense works in regards to the centers, to DeMarcus, Christian Wood? And is it very similar to what we saw with the Mavericks last year after you guys went 5 out with Kristaps?
Yeah, it's very similar. Those guys have similar abilities as far as how Kristaps was able to roll and pop and space and handle the ball if there's a closeout. So they're right at the top of the floor and creating action for their teammates. Both guys are able to play on either side of the floor too. If they're starting in the corner, that's an uncomfortable place for a defensive five-man to be, whether he's going to help towards the paint, which is his natural instinct, or stay home on the corner shooters. So we've been putting them all over the floor, but mainly the top and the corners.
Adam Spelman.
Hey, Coach, how do you go about building trust with players that you don't know very well and you just don't have a lot of time to really get to know them at this point?
Yeah, it's a day-by-day thing. It's little conversations on the side. It's during drills, pulling a guy aside and letting him know what I think and asking their opinion. I find for me, asking questions leads to a trusting relationship. If it's one way where I'm telling them what to do all the time, that doesn't breed trust to me. To me, back and forth conversation, me asking questions, being a good listener, that leads to trust when it comes to players.
Is coming in as a new head coach in a new organization, just how much tougher is that when you didn't have a whole lot of time between when you took the job and the start of camp and then very little time just to even have a training camp?
Yeah, I would say it's tough just because of the timetable, but in general, people want to trust. It's not like people come into a situation and don't want to trust the head coach or don't want to trust what's going on. If you're doing things in a sensible manner, if you're doing things that make players better and they feel like they're getting better, then that trust happens a little sooner. But like you said, the amount of time that we have, we're only 2 weeks away from game number 1. It does condense that situation a little bit, but in general, players want to trust and coaches want to trust players.
Crystal Salter.
Hello, Coach.
Hello.
I would like to ask you how satisfied you are so far about the process of your team, and do you believe that your team will gonna be ready until the of the season?
I'm very comfortable with the group and how we've been progressing. We've only had 4 practices, so at this point, and it's funny, I was telling the guys, like, we're really happy with where we are and what we've been doing and this foundation that we're setting. But there are 29 other teams in the league right now who feel really good about where they are and how they're practicing and what they've been doing. So we can't rest on our laurels that we've had 4 good practices and are moving in the right direction. The preseason games will give us a test, and we'll continue to build and grow. And by the time season starts, hopefully we'll be in a place. We won't be where we're going to get to, but hopefully we'll be in a place where everybody's comfortable and we'll be able to be successful.
Cody Davis.
Hey, Coach, with the first preseason game coming up, have you and your staff talked about what type of minutes restrictions will John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins be on?
No, I actually talked to both guys about, I wouldn't even call it restrictions, but we're going to be really, I wouldn't even say cautious, but we're just going to really think about how many minutes each guy gets, how long of a stretch they get during a game, and really make sure that they're feeling comfortable as far as getting their rhythm and being able to play with their teammates, but also being common sense when it comes to their health and their body. So that's something that we talked about a lot this morning as a staff. I pulled each guy aside today and talked to them individually about it. And, as you allude to, like, it's an issue that we're really going to have to be on top of.
Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, just a quick question. On Harden, how much longer do you think he'll be in the protocol, and what's your expectation once the protocol is over? I mean, what do you expect to happen at that point?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It's really hard.
It's over. I mean, what do you expect to happen at that point?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It's really hard to kind of put a finger on what the protocol looks like at this point, just because of how the timing is. It's not the same timing that everybody else had, right? So as far as like when he can start doing individual workouts, when he can join the team, when he can practice, there really isn't. We're working with the NBA and trying to figure out exactly what that is. But as far as I know right now, there isn't a clear plan to figure out exactly what that is. But as far as I know right now, there isn't a clear plan as far as what that looks like, just because it's outside of the way that we were doing it with the original group.
So then the protocol issue right now is more because he didn't show up on time, so maybe there's some uncertainty, so the NBA wants to take a little more time with him. Is that what it is?
There's a certain amount of tests that you have to have. There's things where you can only be doing individual workouts, so that's what we had. There's things where you can be with the group, and we're just trying to iron all that stuff out right now. I really don't have a good answer for you. I wish I had a better answer for you when it comes to that, but I don't.
As far as Friday's opener, I guess first off, do you have a projected starting lineup yet? And beyond that, are there any guys other than James who may not be available?
I don't really have a set lineup right now. I've been kind of toying with a few different lineups, and we'll kind of see where it goes. Me and my staff have to get together tomorrow and really kind of plan out what it looks like, because as the earlier question kind of alluded to, we have to be smart about the minutes and the short period of time that it's been getting to this point. So as far as lineups and who's going to be starting and that sort of thing, I don't have a set idea yet.
We have time for 2 more questions. Simone Ali.
How do you see the role for guys like David Nwaba and Sterling Brown developing on the team? And how does Nwaba look off the Achilles injury?
Nwaba's coming along. You know, it's been, I think his injury was right around mid-December of last year, so it's been almost a year, and there's some days where he feels a little bit more comfortable than other days, and we understand that, and our performance team is really working with him to get him all the way back. Today was probably his best day in practice. We did a one-on-one defensive drill, and he knocked it out of the park. So looking for that progress for him is going to be important for us. As far as Sterling, we're just kind of waiting and seeing on him, and looking forward to him being with us.
And last question, Ali Parmesan.
Hey, Stephen, just to follow up to your first answer regarding wideouts and bigs, in particular Christian Wood, I know you spent time with him in Charlotte early in his career. Where has he grown the most, especially offensively, and how has he been able to fit into what you want to do here?
I'd say he's just matured I mean, he's matured overall, right? But he's matured offensively. He's not going as fast as he was. He's always been super talented, but he was young, and the game was a little bit too fast for him at that point. So he's just matured offensively, and he's slowed down and knows the reads and knows what he's trying to get to. You know, in the NBA, the more years you play, the more the game kind of slows down, and you know where your sweet spots are, and you know how you can be effective on the floor. Right now, for him, it's figuring out how to play with his teammates. So him and John Wall played together in the scrimmaging, and they really seem to have a really good connection, and that connection has to grow and be fostered by, you know, the actions that we have and the games that we play. But Seawood's going to be fine. He's going to be good.
We'll take Thank you, Coach. Jonathan, did you have your hand raised? Okay, Jonathan.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up. You said you're looking forward to Sterling Brown being with you. Is he not there? And can you elaborate on that delay?
Yeah, he's just dealing with the protocol as well. So he's here, but he's dealing with the protocol.
Thank you.